Hey, what is up guys, Master here, back to do another video, and today I've got a pretty awesome and sick video to share with you all. I don't think this has ever happened before in a game of Kane's Wrath, which you're about to witness, especially in a 1v1 game. But yeah, quite frankly, I don't think any of you have ever seen this in a 1v1. Nor has it happened to me before, so this is going to be an exciting match. It's going to be on Tournament Dust Bowl, no poker edition, with my fancy schmancy 6-shooter showdown lighting skin theme applied to it. Has the modified mini-map as well, did a bit of work in that in Photoshop. But yeah, pretty stock standard game so far, nothing out of the ordinary. Black hand. Though we do have a second engineer, Saboteur, what could that be for? I'm gonna send that around the side. My opponent will be Assassin Spy. He's going to be playing as the blue Zocom. He's improved quite a lot in recent times because he just plays all of the good players. That's what happens, guys. You play better players than you just get better after a time. It is a slow grind, though. You have to accept that it takes a lot of games to get into that position. But I definitely think that he has potential to advance. Anyways, I'm going to expand and scout. Well, not expand just yet, but I'm going to send this Cabal squad on the right hand side to his base. I sent that along with my Saboteur just to pick off any rifle scouts that he sent to that part of the map in case he had any. I don't know if it looks suspicious doing that, but because I don't do the sneaky engineer tactic very often, it may in fact not make him suss out anything. Rifle scout will come in. He'll see the typical 3 and 2 harvester to refinery ratio on my tip field, so nothing very out of the norm just yet. And it's not a big deal if I lose this Saboteur, because that's basically 1.5 Cabal squads in that Saboteur, and that's like, I mean, is it the end of the game if I lose 1.5 Cabal squads at this stage of the game? Not really, no. As long as it's not stalling my income, it's not going to really do anything but be a nuisance. Now, the way this Saboteur tactic works is you have to go in and harass your opponent at the same time. In this case, I made bikes after my 3rd harvester, which is a timing that a lot of players like to do nowadays. It's a good timing. And the thing is, I'm not really expecting to kill any of his harvesters here, but I'm just putting on a distraction, so he's forced to pull back his harvesters. As you can see there, if he was looking at his MCB, he would lose his harvester. Both of them are totally fine for me. He's not going to lose any of his harvesters, but what you will find is he will lose his MCV, and I just snared that MCV from him. Puts down the refinery just as I took that MCV. That's a little bit unfortunate for me. Power plant going down there. And I'm going to start working on a crane now. Typically, in this stage of the game, you would just eco up with Black Hand, sell the MCV of the Zocom player, and go into buggy spam. But, guys, we are in it for some fun, so I'm going to go ahead and build a crane and start queuing refineries off of the crane, because I can actually eco up at the same time as go for something like Black Disciples with that crane. It's really good for me. It's a pretty good time to build a crane anyways after your 3rd refinery, because often you're floating funds at this stage of the game. But there's a bunch of pipples in my base, something that I did not scout, and that's going to buy him time to rebuild his MCV and recover here. So I'm building a Zocom refinery as well as a Black Hand War Factory. So I've got 2 factions now at my disposal to play with. Zocom, Black Hand, guys. Wonder what we can pull off with that. Well, one thing we can do is we can go for a bunch of missile squads with that Tiberian field suit upgrade and go for Cabals to buff them. That Confessor Cabal buff alongside the most armored rockets in the game would be amazing, but I had something even better in mind. But it is a little bit weird. It takes you have to recalibrate your mind when something like this is happening, and that was a really loud notification alert there. I don't know if I'm going to edit that out in the post editing. I guess I will, just because the volume levels were not right. But someone entered the chat around about this time and asked what faction I started off with originally, which I thought was rather hilarious. Now, it was Black Hand because you can see the UI and everything is red, so obviously I started off as a nod faction. But I have a mix of GDI and Black Hand tech here, in this case Zocom. I'm going for hammerheads and I'm going for black hand squads. Now this is the one thing that you guys wanted to see in Cybert's video of me versus Rex in Tournament Highland, something that I should have exploited on that day, but I believe I was Vanilla Nod that time, not Black Hand. Black Hand have an even better version of the zone, not the zone, the Hammerhead Black Hand strategy. Not only am I going to get regular Hammerheads, I'm going to get Ceramic Armor Hammerheads. Ceramic Armor, Zocom Hammerheads with Black Hand, Purifying Flame, Black Hand squads. Absolutely insane. This is the most potent form of the thing I'm about to do. 4 Zocom Orcas out for Assassin Spy. That is an issue. I've got no anti-air here, and my income is a little bit stalled. Going for the 2 Mantis to try and defend those Zocom Orcas off. I can defend my base with those Hammerheads too. I've got the Ceramic Armor online. 2 refineries there. One is a Zocom refinery, the other a Black Hand ref. Purifying Flame upgrade on the way. He also must have summoned in the Bloodhounds, because we can see there was 4 Bloodhounds V35s there. And how do you counter rig, guys? What's the best counter to rigs? It's a freaking Hammerhead with a Black Hand squad in it. That's what counters rigs. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this rig extremely quickly with these Hammerheads. Hammerheads with flame squads inside. A very potent unit. Now this game has actually stabilized. He's actually ahead of me now, because I went for this dual tech strategy. Gets a direct hit on one of my harvesters. A little bit of a shame, and I actually queued a second tier 2. I was a little bit disoriented, because how often do you play with Zocom and Black Hand? The answer is not very often. And here I made a little bit of a mistake. I don't know what happened, but all my harvesters decided to go off the line. That's why I am in a bit of a pickle here. I used the power signature scan, which is free in R19. So I'm going to get those harvesters back to work. This is actually a big problem for me. I have not got any resources. Those harvesters were pulled off the line. He's busy away mining. He's going to get his firehawks out in no time. There's a ton of pitbulls as well on my base, so it's almost like he sniffed out what was coming his way. Purifying Flame is researched now, finally. And those pitbulls are going to be forced back. Those Ceramic Armor Hammerheads with AP ammo, very powerful. And I'm now going to start filling those up with those Purifying Flame Black Hand squads, which start off as veteran as the Black Hand faction. So that's an insane amount of damage against structures, and you are soon going to see them in action for the very first time in a 1v1 game, in a relatively stable, undecided 1v1 game. Arguably, I am pretty behind here for experimenting with this. So I've got these 5 Hammerheads moving in here. They are essentially flying flame tanks at this point. So much DPS. I'm just moving by this ref, and look how much damage that refinery's taken. I don't even have to stop and shoot. The refinery falls immediately. Power plant there as well going down. The firehawks go to land, but that fence is just not enough. Look how much damage that dealt. And the refinery as well. I'm not even stopping there. The refinery falls. The Black Hand squads in there are causing so much mischief. That was an insane amount of damage there caused by those Black Hand squads with Blue Flame just walking past, or rather flying past all of those units. And now I've found the force of his, and these Purifying Flame Black Hand squads are doing so much work, allowing me to take out those APCs almost instantaneously. It's just the slingshot I have to worry about. That gets taken out by my Dozer Blade Scorpion tanks. Hammerheads moving in once again, and unfortunately for me, at the worst possible time. That disconnect message that I always get comes up as I need to pull back my Hammerheads. The pitbulls snared one of the Hammerheads, unfortunately for me, but look at this one click. This one click was absolutely devastating, because I killed his other refinery with the Blue Flame Hammerheads. All of the harvesters of his was stacking on that one refinery. Remember, I also killed the rev in his original base, so that was an almost unavoidable one click. And let's face it, Catalyst missiles are not going to be at the top of your mind as a Zocom player when you are up against Hammerheads with those Black Hand squads inside. So that's a lot of damage, but he still has his Marv and a couple of heroic pipples there and slingshots, so definitely not over just yet. I'm basically out of Tiberium. There's one purifier there for me. I summon in the C Tiberium. I'm going to try and gather some resources while this is all going on. I'm going to send this purifier around the side, hoping to win this with a condition of me destroying all of his structures, because I sure don't have the damage to kill an enemy Marv at this point. But I've got all of those hammerheads. I'm loading them up once again with those Black Hand squads. Loads of pipples there for him, as well as a couple of slingshots. As you saw, he's got his MCV and Marv there. Marv can harvest that Tiberium field if he's in need of resources. MCV is about to go down. I'm going to go ahead and plant this barracks just for some infantry units in case I need them. Buggies I'm building just to stall the advance of the Marv, because each one of those buggies buys me 10 seconds of EMP, 10 seconds of that Marv being offline. And look at those hammerheads go, just shutting down this force. There's even a heroic Black Hand squad inside of one of these hammerheads. You're going to see some absolute insanity unfold here. The amount of damage in these hammerheads against structures is simply incalculable at this point. The damage inflicted by these units relative to their speed is basically the most that is possible in a game of Kane's Wrath. This is insane, the DPS of those hammerheads. Zocom and Black Hand combining forces, and I think it's rather fun and interesting how you can combine forces like this. Rarely does it happen in a 1v1, but I guess in a 2v2 game you can make these sort of strategies work out really well for you. So I've got 7 hammerheads here with those Black Hand squads, and I am hoping to deliver some sort of something. I mean, I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't really used hammerheads in this position. He's got one heroic pipple there and a bunch of slingshots. How is this going to unfold for me? All of these anti-air, dedicated anti-air units are getting absolutely shredded. They're in range of the Black Hand squads, and even the heroic pipple is going to fall immediately. That fight was just over instantly. All of the pipples die. And now look at this MCV4. I'm just moving in to the MCV, not even stopping, and the MCV is going to die. The hammerheads did not even stop. The MCV falls, and now it's just the War Factory left. He's got 4 harvesters there, so he has income way more than me and slingshots, but I killed the War Factory. The hammerheads all survive, and that was simply insane there. Hammerheads, all 3 are on heavy damage mode. I got that ceramic armor upgrade. The Zocom ceramic armor saving the lives of those hammerheads. I have 4 left. There's a purifier for me. He's got 1 refinery and there's several power plants left. Could have another base, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to really be enough to kill these 4 hammerheads there with the Black Hand squad. So the hammerheads, once again, after being healed up, we're going to go ahead and deal with that refinery. There's slingshots there, which I need to be concerned about. He's floating resources. I don't think he has a means of producing any more units or structures. And look at this refinery fall, guys. Absolutely astonishing amounts of damage. That refinery, the hammerhead just looked at the refinery and it was no more. It was just deleted off of the map. And the amount of damage is so crazy that the harvesters are being now sniped by those hammerheads. Slingshots, I thought, well, I may as well take those out because I have my sights set on those power plants. I wanted to see the damage of those hammerheads a little bit more, and that is what I achieved there. So I'm going to find these last 2 buildings. Hammerheads are going to lay waste to them, and before you know it, the game is over. So I thought that was a pretty incredible and extremely unusual game. A game of 1v1 that I don't think you guys have ever seen before, and it could have gone either way, especially with those firehawks that I was able to snipe on the deck as I was moving past his base. Those firehawks were unable to lift up because I simply killed the airfield immediately, and that was pretty crazy. That was crazy, okay? You don't just that doesn't happen. So I want to thank you all very much for watching this, and if you liked it, then don't forget to smash the like button. I really do appreciate that. And I would like to thank everyone as well who has been supporting me on Patreon. Your continued support is allowing me to do these videos on a regular basis. So that's all I have left to say, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and this is going to be me, Master Leaf. Peace out.